Welcome back. This is Year of Adventure episode number 10. I can't have both my hands up. There we go. This is Year of Adventure number 10. So exciting to say that I even started this adventure 10 months ago. It's amazing to think about. And if you look behind me right now, I'm now at Pictured Rocks National Lakeshore in Michigan, the 12th official state I've visited on this Year of Adventure trip, which is so cool, so beautiful. Very excited to be here because there's a few weird things that happen. One, if you walk, the sand actually squeaks beneath your feet. I have a little clip on that. And second, this is the first time I've been to the Great Lakes region. This right here is Lake Superior, and it's really cool to stand in one of the Great Lakes, the biggest of the Great Lakes. And just the whole Great Lakes region in general is a place that I never thought I'd come visit, and I've been pleasantly surprised by just how gorgeous it is here. So we've got a lot to see, a lot of places to go. I'm not going to talk too long in the intro of this video. Let's just go get started. So right now I'm on the Marsh Trail at Painted Rocks National Lakeshore, and it takes a while to remember that name. But what I'm looking at right now is the different trees they have here. One of the most fascinating parts about being in a new part of the country like this is seeing the different plant life. I grew up ecological restoration major back in college. I did a lot of tree stuff. I got to know a lot of the plant life and how they interact with each other. But this is all very different. So what we're looking at right here, this tree, is a black spruce tree that you could tell is a spruce by the needles, but I'd never seen a black spruce tree, and I didn't know what this was. If you look over here as well, we also have a very interesting one that I've never seen, and it was really confusing me. This is the white cedar tree. Now back home in the Northwest, we have Thuja plicata, which is the red cedar tree. They grow big and massive and strong, but these white cedars are smaller, and look how like durable this one is. They're wild little stunted looking trees that are really beautiful. Now this tree right here, I hope you're interested in trees, by the way, because I love them. But this tree right here is one of the more famous United States trees. This is a white pine tree. You could tell it's a white pine because of the 5 needled fascicles that they have here. So if you look at one of these little things right here, it has 5 pine needles that come in every little bunch. Sometimes it's 4, but usually they come in 5. Now, when the British colonies, or when Britain actually claimed the United States, back when the United States was a colony of Britain, the king reserved all white pine trees in the United States. No settler could cut them down. The king reserved every single white pine tree for him, His Majesty, because the white pine trees made the best mass on sales because they grow the straightest out of almost all the pine trees. Kind of a cool little fact to know. Another white pine right here. And a weird thing about them, well, is they smell kind of sweet. They smell sweet and refreshing when you smell them. If you compare that over here to the red pine, which is, if you're familiar with ponderosa pines in the Northwest, a red pine is very, very similar. The only difference is that ponderosa trees have a 3-needled fascicle, 3-needled bunch of needles, and red pine trees like this one right here come in 2-needled fascicles, and this one has more of a musty scent when you smell it. It's cool, really very cool. I'm here in Michigan at Laughing Falls Scenic Site right here. Now, the cool thing about this trail is that I think I'm technically crossing into Canada for a little bit. I don't have my passport, so I'm technically an illegal immigrant for just a little bit. And you have to do everything once, right? But check out how thick this forest is. It is gorgeous here, man. Like, absolutely wonderful right now. The trees, I'm obsessed with the trees here in Michigan. Today's a day where I'm traveling. I don't have to work today, so I'm really just relaxing for the first time I've done in a in all the month of September, last September. Now that it's October, this is my first time that I get to take a breath. Let's go see what's up here. I made it here at Laughing Falls, unlike any waterfall I've ever seen before. Raining outside, it's wet. The rocks that go up this waterfall are very slippery, very, very slippery. So you gotta be careful. But this waterfall is unlike anything I've ever seen. It goes in layers. You have the first big drop off right here and another level, and then it just keeps going down. It's almost like a huge natural water slide coming down this way, which is incredible. Really, really amazing here. Unlike anything I've ever experienced. It's gorgeous, and the amount of wetness in the air, the humidity, the life that's everywhere. There's so much life here at this place. We even have people hiking up right behind me, which is awesome. I love people getting out here and exploring. Michigan, you are impressing. There is no doubt. This is one of my favorite states I've ever been to. Not just the states that I've been to so far, but one of my favorite states and favorite places I've ever been to in general. Very impressed. Go Michigan. I just very nearly made a very dangerous mistake. You can see I've just now made it back to the trail. That was close. So what I did was I was coming back up the trail this way, thinking I knew where the car was. But what I did is I overshot it, and I was trying to come straight to the parking lot. And I started to realize, man, I've been walking for a long time. I haven't seen the parking lot. I haven't seen the trail. I should probably just head dead left where I know civilization is in some direction, right? I knew this trail was kind of this way. If I just went dead left this way, because I was walking for so far straight thinking I knew better, and I came out right at the parking lot. This is the parking lot right here. If I would have kept going that way thinking I knew better, there's a good chance that I would have been lost for a much longer time before I found this trail, because now I can't find the trail again. I've already gone past it. That was close, man. And look, here's my car right here. I hit that almost perfectly when I turned left. Dangerous thing in these forests. Like, if you're not comfortable in the woods, stay on the trail out here, because it is hard to find your way back after you get in those woods. So we made it to a place called Mackinac Island. I don't know how to say it right, but this is a special island because there's no cars allowed on the island. There's horse-drawn carriages and bikes. These are the only two things here. And I don't even know how big this island is, but I'm about to go explore it, and this place is like going back in time, who knows how long. I feel like I just went back in time like 150 years. The buildings are different. It's awesome. And just minutes before, she's like, oh, I've never used to. So what I'm learning here about Mackinac Island, it's not Mackinac, it's Mackinac Island, is that this was a trading center for American Indians and American fur traders for the most part. In 1822, back when the dollar was valued at much less, there were $3 million worth of furs in 1822 that went through this street. This street back in the 1800s was bustling with all these people trading furs. This was a hot spot way back in the day. So you're catching me just a few minutes after I've woken up here outside of Ann Arbor, Michigan, but I want you to see the crazy mornings here. This is different. There goes the car. See, this is where I sleep at night, right? Right in places like this.
But this is different than anything I've woken up to in the past. It's most mornings are, sometimes I get rainy mornings, sometimes we get cloudy days back home in northern Idaho and Montana. Here you wake up and it's like that movie The Mist, where it's like a foggy storm where you can't really tell where you're going. Sometimes it's so foggy it feels like it's the middle of the night. You have to have your lights on, you have to have your brights on to be able to see anything on the road. It's a weird vibe. That being said, the plan today is, I've been in Michigan for a while. I think I talked to you a little bit about this when I was up on the peninsula next to the Great Sand Dunes. Glen Arbor, I think is what it was called, Michigan. This place is very pretty. You can see all the forest and everything. It's very pretty. You wake up, the birds are singing, it's lovely. The problem with it that I'm starting to have is that everything seems to be sort of the same. It's hard to adventure in a place. Like, I just took a little walk down this little path and that was great, but it's hard to adventure in this place when everything is the same forest you keep seeing over and over again. It's cool and it was fun to be here for a while, but I've been here for just over 10 days now in the Michigan, Wisconsin area, kind of the same forest, and I'm like craving mountains desperately. So to do that, I'm headed to the East Coast. I'm headed to upstate New York. Not gonna get there today, but it's probably the next time that you'll end up seeing me is upstate New York-ish, maybe Ohio, where we actually get to see the Appalachian Mountains that I've never really explored before. Even when I hitchhiked, never really explored. Really excited about it. So I'm here in New York at Niagara Falls right behind me. This is the first time I've really been to the East Coast, is what I would consider it. The upper, like the New England area of the country, and I have been blown away by this place so far. I always grew up thinking like, oh man, I never want to go to New York. There's so many people there. First off, didn't even know Niagara Falls was in New York. Fantastic place here. But the second thing has been that New York has more of a utopic feel to it than any other place I've ever been in my life. In the short time that I've been here, I've seen more cultures, more races of people together, more different kinds of people in like the economic ladder and filling different roles and different social roles. There's just so many different kinds of people here that I've never experienced in one place before. And there's so many people everywhere. And what I would think that would be is kind of like this create a nightmare of so many people being so close together. But what's happened instead in this area, and just the short experience I've had so far, is instead of a conflict, what there is here is there's sort of an acceptance. It doesn't necessarily have to be an understanding. It's not, but it's more than a tolerance. There's an acceptance and almost a kind of a oneness feeling here in New York. Look at this, dude. Look at this. This is crazy. There's a oneness feeling where I'm seeing so many people with so many different kinds of expressions of personalities here. It's so beautiful, so welcoming, so joyous. So like, I don't even know how to describe it. Now, this is just a few hours that I've been here, but so far the experience has been unreal about kind of the community feeling and closeness that there is in this place. I don't know what that comes from yet. I have a few ideas that I'll talk more about later. Probably write a few emails on this if you're not subscribed to my email list. This place is something else. I found probably the best view I'm gonna get of the falls while I'm here. If I can crank this up just a little bit, I can show you on the GoPro. This place, it's pretty crazy, man. Oh my gosh. There's something like 75,000 gallons of water that go over those falls per second. Per second. 1,000, 2, 1,000. That's a lot of water. And the highest point on these waterfalls is 1,100 feet. So these things are falling over 1,000 feet and hitting the bottom of these falls with such force. That's probably what carved out this entire canyon. These waterfalls have just added to the power of the water. It's
So I'm here in Vermont for the first time skating. Vermont's super cool, by the way. I'm in Burlington, Vermont, and I found out about this skate park from a local I talked to yesterday. I've never really skated before, so I'm out here trying to figure it out, and it's so hard, man. Right now my goal is just to like skate over this, get enough speed to skate over it. It's brutal though, I'll show you. Okay, here we go, right here. Oh God, whew. Not a good start, not a good start. Let's turn it around real quick. Here we go. Oh, I made it over. Let's go. Dude, this is so scary. We're getting a little groove here. See if we can make it up this thing. It's so, you gotta go so fast. Going fast, and this is so scary too. This is brutal. So my big goal I wanted out of this was to successfully do a drop-in. I have no idea if I'm ready to do this or not yet, man. I'm so scared. But I think it's time to try it. Let's go. Yeah, I'm good. Woo.
Bend down, straight. Like just bend down. Don't even down. There you go.
Way better.
Dude, that's awesome. Woo. Honestly.
Yeah, chickened out. I had it.
You got that, dude. You really do got that.
Oh.
Is your hand okay?
Yeah, I'm good.
I'm gonna... Dude, count. That's gotta count. Yo, put on. You okay? I'm gonna count. Dude, that counts. Dude, you gotta try and turn out. And then,
All right, man, so that was a trip and a half trying to get that freaking thing done. Trying to get the drop in. It's my first time ever skating in a skate park, and that was a brutal process. Probably been here for about an hour. I got the drop. I just can't stay on it afterwards. So I got the first part. It's kind of my big goal. So I'm gonna end it there right now, but man, like, that's rough. That's rough. So I really had no idea what to expect when I came to the Northeast. But what I think I'm discovering is that it's just about one of the prettiest places that you can live. Like, look at this. This is Winslow State Park in New Hampshire, the 17th state that I have visited. You can't see as far out as I can in the camera. There's little lakes down there. All the fall colors are changing. There's a sunset in the distance. This is So there's been a lot that I've been learning while I've been out here in the Northeast, and the big thing that I've learned so far is that unlike every other place I've ever been, where when a new person comes into the environment, they're kind of an outsider, here I don't get that sense. So let me give you an idea of where I came from at home. Is northern Idaho and a lot of the West and every other state I've ever been to until I got to about New York area is has a suspicion, curiosity sometimes, sometimes even like an excitement to meet new people from the outside. It doesn't matter who they are, where they're from. For most people, it's just more about them being an outsider. So because of that, there's a certain suspicion. There's a certain kind of looked at way that new people are looked at and treated when they come into a new environment. It doesn't mean they're being mean. It doesn't mean they're ever treated really badly, but it does mean that it's hard to cross that barrier into being friends. When I came to the Northeast, though, and I came to Buffalo, New York, the thing that I experienced was that there's so many different kinds of people and so many different groups and races and social classes and different expressions of who you can be, economic levels. There's so many different people crammed into such a small place and so used to seeing other people that instead of them being an outsider now, suddenly there's this feeling that you're kind of accepted. It's really incredible. So I'm now going to welcome you to Boston, Massachusetts. These are my clients, Isadora and Leo, right here. They're a married couple, online fitness coaches. I ended up coming to the city to help them film an email course. I'm a copywriter in my professional career, so I got to help them out and visit the biggest city ever. I've been in it like ever. I'm about to do a backflip, so this is pretty cool. We went down here, we had a big filming session, and what I could say about the city is that it's so loud. I've never really been a huge fan of the cities in general, but they're so loud. However, I had a lot of fun doing this little professional filming setup with Isadora and Leo. I'm going to let you enjoy it now.
Video setup looks like right now. Oh, we've been here for a full day. The good news is we have a squat rack right over here to recover after a long day of filming. We've been here since 8 in the morning. I think, what time is it, Leo? Like 3 o'clock now?
It's 3:27.
It's 3:27 now. So we've been here for the full day filming. It's been a good one, and we're not done yet. The best way to recover is with a gym setup. Oh, fun though, really fun. Leo, the guy behind the wall that you'll probably see at some point, is a bloody genius. Super happy to have him. Let's keep going.
Over here. Wait, now I got a new one.
We're here, day 2 of filming here in Boston, Massachusetts. I learned that everybody here is called massholes. That's what you call them, right? Massholes in Massachusetts.
That's people drive.
Okay. People have been very nice here so far to me. These two lovely people. They fed me Brazilian steak last night, which was incredible.
We're gonna have
So
more.
good. So good. Now we're gonna go film some more videos. See you next time. I didn't quite make it to Acadia last night, so I slept at this little boat dock. Check out these mornings here in Maine. Check it out. Wow. Oh my gosh, this is beautiful. And I think this is actually, that's fresh water too. Here we are, Acadia National Park, Maine. Boom. Absolutely awesome. I haven't spent a whole lot of time up here in the northwestern part of the country, as I've probably said a few times in this video already, but there is something almost borderline spooky about this part of the world. You see, if you go back to the very beginning, when people first came to the Northeast, all these forests like New Jersey, Rhode Island, Maine, this northeastern part of the country. People came here in the 1500s, the Vikings even before that. This place was a paradise. Look at, like, we have the ocean, we have bountiful food here, all sorts of sea creatures. There's game everywhere, there's water, fresh water everywhere, there's game, more like land game, fur trading. It's a paradise, but when you go back, you don't see all these stories about frolicking in fields and having the greatest time ever. Instead, what you get when you go back to this part of history, when people first kind of started colonizing and writing history books about this part of the world, you get a full set of stories filled with dread. And it's curious on why they would make it that way. But now that I'm here and I'm starting to experience some of these forests, I get it. There are legends here of massive creatures, like massive snake monsters that live in fresh water. There are stories of ghosts everywhere. The Jersey Devil is a big thing up here. There are some wild things that happen up here. And it's spooky, dude. It's spooky. I've started to understand it, especially right now that it's near Halloween time. This part of the country has a certain spiritual quality about it and a magical quality that I've never experienced anywhere else. And how beautiful it is just a bonus, but there is almost a supernatural level of wild that goes on here. But we got a lot more to see. Let's keep going. Oh my gosh, man, check this out. The tide is low right now, as you can see. You can see where the tide usually is down here, where like the dark rocks are, and then you can tell where the line is, where normally water comes through. And this is the amazing part about this part of the country, is right here you have freshwater waterfall coming in to the ocean. So you have all this brackish water that creates a very good environment for a lot of animal species and a lot of gulls, like the ones you can see out here, the little ravens, the crows. There's a couple little loon, I think, animals. I can't remember exactly what these diving birds are called out here. They look like loons from back home. But this kind of environment creates a very, very good place to live for so many different kinds of animals: sea life, bird life, wildlife. And that's why it's such a valued, treasured part of the country. Where I am right now is currently at about the water's level, is about where my head is. So this low tide is usually where the ocean is, and I think the tide's going to start coming back in if I'm right on the times. Late, like probably right now is when the tide is starting to rise, so this can't be a very long stay. But I brought you down here to show you just the amount of life that lives down here in this world. You see these little snails. This is a live snail. It's not just a shell. You can feel it stick onto the rock as soon as I touch it, because it does not want me messing with it. Now, there's more right here. These are all little snails, and all of these things are edible. Almost everything you see around me right now is technically food that you can eat, you can survive on, which is why native peoples and so many animals love this part of the country so much. And we're seeing a very small portion of the life that's actually here. There are crabs, there are octopus, there are all sorts of shellfish, lobster. This part of the country is supposed to be the best tasting lobster in basically the world. You can see why this is such a special and protected place, because the amount of life that needs to call this place home. There's not many areas in the world that are like this, which is why it's important to protect a place like Acadia National Park, because without them, we're getting rid of a lot of other animal species if we get rid of these environments. So standing up for them, protecting them, and encouraging the long-term conservation for the generations after us and 1,000 years from now is a really like a crucial part of being human. I think it adds joy to our lives, and it allows a lot more life to exist on this planet than just us. Hey, It's getting cold up here in the Northeast. I'm coming at you from Rockport, Maine today. Cool little downtown strip. I'm just walking around right now because it's so cold and it's only about 6 o'clock, 6:30 at night right now. You can see how dark it is already. It's getting dark around 5:30 right now. It's getting cold and it's presenting me with a new dilemma of just how to deal with this new environment. See, up here in the Northeast, I'm just kind of stuck here until the 15th of November, where I'm going to fly to Spain for 2 weeks, which I'll film a video for. And then after that, after I come back in December, when it's going to be snowing, is when I finally get to head down south. So right now I'm kind of stuck in this cold weather, having to just figure out what to do with myself. I wake up around 8:30. I get to work about 9. I work for about 5 hours, which is way longer than I usually work, just to stay inside, to stay warm. The average temperature is somewhere between like 45, 55 degrees during the day, which isn't unbearable by any means. I could probably still wear shorts if I wanted to, but when I don't have anything to do, I work out once in the morning and then I eat, and then I go back to my car and I just kind of have to sit there until I get hungry again, eat one more time in the night usually, and then I just go to bed. So it's this new dilemma where I don't know what to do with my time right now because I'm just huddling, trying to stay warm. That's why right now I'm walking around Rockport, checking everything out, just trying to warm myself up a bit. And so if I don't stay warm, I immediately get hungry. I want to eat something, even though I'm not really hungry. I just want to stay warm and have something burning in my stomach. So it's a weird thing that I don't quite know how to deal with yet. And it's something I'm going to have to deal with for another month or so, almost another month, before I get to do anything about it and get back to warm weather. It's interesting living in your car when it gets cold. Been doing some great work, I guess, is the bonus, and this is Rockport, Maine. So, the last thing I guess I'll bring up here is Halloween week's coming up, and that's the last real exciting thing I think I'm gonna get to do in this video. Right now I feel like a lazy, like I'm just sitting inside. That's all I'm doing in these videos right now. So what I'm going to be doing is I'm going down to Halloween in Salem, Massachusetts, which is the birthplace of Halloween, where the witch burnings were a few hundred years ago. And I'm not a fan of burning people, by the way, but it should be really cool for the historical context and to really see the birthplace of what Halloween is. I'm pretty excited about that. I don't know how to celebrate Halloween as you get older because I don't want to dress up and trick-or-treat. And I don't know anybody in Salem, Massachusetts, so I think I'm just gonna walk in and maybe be, I don't know, I don't want to be the creepy guy. We'll see how it all works. But that's the last thing I think I'm gonna do in this video. I'm gonna walk for a little bit longer, just updating you on basic life, I guess. See you in Salem. I've made it to one of the places I wanted to see more than just about anywhere else for the historical context, and this is Salem, Massachusetts. This was the place where witch burnings were held in like the 17-somethings, way back in the day. A lot of atrocities went on here, and for some reason, being people, we like to remember those moments more than anything else. So here I am in Salem, and it's so cool here. You can tell all the buildings were built a long time ago because they're almost like the stories aren't quite as tall as like a normal story on a building would be. Instead of like 10 feet, it feels like 9 or 8 feet. It feels just like old buildings. There's a lot of museums here. I got here a little too late in the day to see them today. Hopefully tomorrow, that means we're gonna be able to go see them. That'll be super cool. It's just, it's an interesting vibe here, and I'm really excited to be here for Halloween, bro. I'm booting the camera back up just to show you a little bit more of Salem, even though it's storming out crazy here. So I've got a tour at the Witch Museum, or the Witch House. I'm not sure if it's like a theater or an actual museum, but I've got a tour there in about an hour and a half at 9:45 here. But right now I'm just kind of wandering around Salem. I just want to just hide the whole morning without getting to see some of this place. So here we are. This is Salem, Massachusetts, dude. It's very interesting here. Very, it has a similar culture so far to what I've, like kind of a Sedona, Arizona. It's kind of like an East Coast version of Sedona, not as naturally astounding as the Arizona desert, but similar culture and similar people so far to what I've experienced over there in Arizona. So let's keep walking. I'll show you if I see anything. I am at the cemetery where a few of the people that were hanged in 1692 accused of witchcraft are now buried. You can look around. These graves are witches that the court failed to protect many, many years ago. And it does make me happy to live in a world where we do our best to try to convict only truly guilty people. Why we have so many judicial systems put in place. Just look at that, dude. Like, there are people here that have been put to death that were innocent because they were accused of witchcraft. Just like right here. One of them, John Proctor, hanged August 19th, 1692. An innocent man. Thank you for their sacrifice. Help us create a better world today. This is where they're buried. Incredible. Alright, so I just finished up the witch tour. They wouldn't let me film inside, but I wanted to tell you just a little bit of the history while I've got you here. Is today I went and you saw me find John Proctor's grave. It would just happen to be the first grave that I flipped over. I uncovered, I didn't deface any cemetery, but it was covered in leaves. I wiped it clean and I found John Proctor's name on there. Now, I went and did the tour at the Witch Museum and I found out exactly who John Proctor was. You see, when everybody was losing their mind in 1692, when the witch trials were happening and all these little girls were claiming to see spirits and do all this bullshit that got a ton of people killed, John Proctor was one of the few people in the village that was like, yo guys, this is bullshit, relax, nobody's a witch, we're gonna be okay, just keep it rolling. For having that mindset, for trying to be good to people, for trying to take care of people, for trying to lead his community, John Proctor stepped on the stand and was accused of being a witch by all these little girls. All these little girls told John that he was a witch, and as a side effect of that, John's pregnant wife also got roped into witchcraft. So these two solid, good people that were trying to keep this community together were accused of being witches and sent to jail. And the fascinating thing about jail back in Salem in 1692 is that they had to pay for all their own expenses to go to jail. So that means all their shackles, all their food, everything was charged to them while they couldn't make any money. They were imprisoned and having to pay the bills of their own imprisonment, which was horrible. While in jail, John Proctor ended up being sentenced to death. He was hanged along with 19 or 18 other people were hanged, and there was one person that was pressed to death under rocks, a medieval torture method. So it was a very, very crazy time to just be alive. And not many people made it through. A lot of people died during that time, but John Proctor, I got to see his grave today. The guy was a homie, the guy knew what was going on, and the guy fought for what was right in a time where a lot of unjust things were going on. So I thought that was very empowering and very awesome to see just what a powerful, strong man looks like. Somebody that stands up and does the right thing even when everybody else is telling you you're wrong. And even though he died for it, he's remembered. All right, from Salem, I ended up driving out to Vermont today. My favorite state that I've probably been to. Hands down favorite state I've been to on the East Coast so far. Montana, Idaho, Wyoming. Those states all rival this. But on the eastern side of the United States, Vermont's king. So that's why I'm back. And I'm going to a place called the Stone Tower, where I actually get a view of these surrounding mountains. That's one of the only downsides about Vermont, is you rarely get a clearing where you can look out over everything. But this trail, if it goes the way I think it's gonna go, should solve that. Look at that. The Stone Tower. Oh my gosh, we made it. Let's go. Oh. Check it out, man. Oh my.
Well, this has been a cool day. It's the capital city of Vermont, by the way. Montpelier, smallest capital city, or at least populous capital city in the United States. Very, very cool. Very pretty if you look at something. Like, oh my gosh, dude. This horizon, the mountains. I see why they call it the Green Mountain State. So I was really planning on going to Halloween in Salem. That being said, I've already been to Salem and it's not as good as it is here in Vermont. So that's kind of my thought process right now. Is I was planning on making this video a little bit longer, taking you back to Salem and showing you whatever else happens, and that could still happen. But I think the reality is that this place is just better than anywhere else I want to go. So I think that concludes, wow, this is gonna be crazy to say. That concludes Year of Adventure, episode number 10. Damn. All the way from Michigan up to Maine in this episode, guys. Now the next episode things, I guess this is what we call future pacing and copywriting. I tune back for the next episode because I'm going to be going to Spain for the 11th Year of Adventure video. I am really excited about it. I'm also going to show you, just throwing a little spice of business event in there with you. But Spain's going to be the big thing. And I'm really, really excited to go. Never been across the pond, never been across the Atlantic, never been to Europe. So it'll be the first time for me. And we're gonna go get to see some old friends from Spain that I knew a long time ago. So I'll see you in the next one. Thank you for joining me on another Year of Adventure. Episode number 10 complete. We're almost done with a full year. Just 2 more months.